afternoon and lots of interesting speakers, etc. And I really appreciate how many of you have actually stayed this length of time till the wee small hours of 4:30 and to hear my story. So, as Jonathan rightly said, I've done lots of different things with my life, most of it very well documented in the form of television. A job that I sort of fell into without really thinking about it, never assuming living in Scotland that I would have the opportunity to be on national television. How wrong I was. Things fell into place. I've had a fantastic 25-year career doing lots of different really interesting and exciting things that I never thought I'd be capable of doing or able to do. However, television is a wonderful thing, but it's also quite a shallow, transient job, shall we say. It's the only job in the world that I think you can do a great job. You can be a great presenter. You bring in the audience. You do everything that you're paid to do. But after however many years in it, you can still not be guaranteed that it's going to be your job this time next week. Because new controllers come in, new producers come in, they have new ideas, and they go, oh, I don't really like her. Or, oh, I want so-and-so, I prefer them. And so you never know from one week to the next if the job is even going to be there. So, as I say, my life so far has been very well documented, but as a 54-year-old woman, jobs in television are quite rare. You don't see many of these species of older women in television, and that's fine. I'm quite cool with that. I've had a great run, and I never really gave a lot of thought to the women in their 50s when I was taking the money at 25, 26, so I'm in no position to complain about it. However, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to be one of these women that could just kind of go, well, I'll just have lunch, shopping, that kind of thing. Nice though that is, it wasn't for me. And I wanted something, an opportunity to get my teeth into something different, a new challenge. And my children are now older and left home. And I thought, no, I don't want to be sitting at home here. I want to do something with my expertise, my personality, my strengths. And it was on a holiday in Portugal with a good friend of mine, Annabelle Croft, who's an ex-British #1 tennis player. She and I were on holiday, our families were there together. We have 4 teenage daughters between us, and we were having a conversation on the beach as mums with our daughters, and I think that one of the girls was worried about going to stay at someone's house overnight because her period was due. And she said, I'm really worried that, what if I'm an accident on the sheets? What if, how embarrassing, it'd be so awkward. And Annabelle and I stared at each other thinking, good Lord, in all these decades since our day, nothing much has changed. Annabelle then opened up about her story. She said she was a 15-year-old tennis player. She left home to do the international tennis circuit, and in doing so was staying with host families around the world. Quite a tough life. It takes a lot of confidence and a lot of sporting ability, obviously, but she said, there would be nothing worse than saying to this lovely family who've looked after me, I'm really sorry, but I've ruined your sheets. So she said, my mother gave me what I can only describe as a shower cap with legs. Plastic pants that just were horrible, scratchy, itchy, unpleasant, sweaty, but they did the job. She said, not only that, I'm playing tennis all day in a short white skirt, cameras zooming in on my every angle. The more famous I became, the more of a worry it became, and I get 2 toilet breaks in a 3-hour match. That is it. Now, as a woman who at that time said and still suffers from heavy periods, that just was another level of fear and worry that I didn't want to be thinking of. How come in all these years I'm sitting here with my daughter and nothing has changed? Good Lord, there must be. We've moved on in the world. We buy knickers that make us thin for a night. We put gel in our bras. We have sports bras, so when we're running, we don't do have breast damage, tissue damage. And here we are with the most normal and a guaranteed thing in life that's going to happen to every woman her entire adult life, and nothing is being done about it. I couldn't believe that. I thought, surely somebody somewhere must have done something. They must have. So I got on Google, as you do, and searched, and lo and behold, absolutely nothing. This was my light bulb moment. I thought, this could have something in it. I'm really interested. I want to find out more. Personally, I've never really suffered that much, but I have had kids come and stay with my own children and scuttle out the door in the morning, and then I realized why when I stripped the bed. So I thought, maybe there is something in this. Having said that, most 15-year-old girls are prone to utter delusion, and I wouldn't trust my own daughters in that respect to say, this is what everyone thinks. So my first piece of advice to anyone becoming an entrepreneur is do your market research. Just because you think something's a good idea, it doesn't mean anyone else does. And all your family and friends will say to you, that's a great idea. Yeah, you should do it. You'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, we'll all buy it. Because they will. But once they bought it, will anyone else want to buy it? That's really important. So we started off by surveying 100 teenage girls across 3 schools. We went through the school matrons, and we gave them a very simple question and answer form. What do you currently use? How often do you have accidents? Etc. When the results came in, it was quite incredible. 34% of them said they had accidents every month, but 91% said they were so afraid of it happening, they just avoided sport, sleepovers, or light-coloured clothing. That was incredible to me, because for a huge number of these girls, it will never be a physical issue, but the emotional side of it was so strong, they actually were putting a hold on certain aspects of their life and not doing things. And that's, to me, it was incredibly sad. So we started off, I should tell you, DiaryDolls, for those of you who don't know, they're pretty clever pants with a secret waterproof panel for life's little leaks. That's how we call it. So the waterproof panel runs from the front to the back. They look and feel exactly like normal knickers. There's no crackle, no bustle, no bulk in it, no nothing. They're just a backup when you need them. You know when you get up from that chair, no one else is going to know if you've had a problem. It buys you time, basically. So I didn't know the first thing about bringing a product to market, absolutely nothing. And in my kind of wide-eyed, naive innocence, I thought, how hard can it be? Let me tell you, it's much harder than I thought. I approached someone who I thought had a bit of experience in this field. I went to see a man called Midge White, who has a company called Ball Bags. Ball Bags, for those of you that don't know, and I'm sure you probably all do, make boxer shorts with a kind of cool logo on the waistband. It's all quite cheeky and fun and out there, and they have quite a big presence in the ski and snowboard market. So I went to see him, and he's a real character, Midge White. Most of the planning of the business is done in the back of a fag packet in the pub, and it's all very funny and cleverly done. So I went to see him and said, how do you bring a product to market? How do you even start with something? I've got this idea. I don't think it's very difficult to make it, but I don't know how to do it. And he said, look, competition for me. I can't imagine for a minute we would ever cross paths professionally. So I'm very happy to help you and lend you my team of people. We've made every mistake in the book. Go ahead. Who knows, further down the line, we may be able to save costs on shipping or warehouse space or something like that. So you're more than welcome to have a go. So he had a contact in Aberdeen, a Chinese lady who's married to one of the oil workers up in Aberdeen. She liaised with the factories on his behalf. She spoke the language. She understood all the paperwork, etc., which took all the headache away for him. And I went up to see her. We didn't need to reinvent the wheel. Basically, we just picked the best-selling shape of knickers on the high street, and we said we need to put a waterproof panel in them. We did 3 rounds of wearer trials. We used the girls in schools to trial them, and every time they came back, we had to listen to what they had to say. Did the waterproofing go high enough? Did they wash well? And did anyone know when they were changing in the changing rooms that they were different from any ordinary knickers? Don't put any branding on them, or everyone will know. And we gained a lot of valuable information from that. Julia, the lady in Aberdeen, she dealt with the factory. We sent money out to this factory. I drew a pair of knickers. I didn't even know what a CAD drawing was, a computer-aided design drawing, and I sent it out on a wing and a prayer, wired the money, and kind of crossed fingers and toes and hoped for the best. How naive we were when I think about it now, but I'm also a great believer in that if you have an idea and you want to do something with it, you can pontificate and you can refine and make sure, I've got to get it just right. We don't want to launch yet, we're not ready. At some point, you have to bite the bullet and go, let's just launch and learn on the job, because you will learn on the job. No matter how much you think you've got it right, you'll still get a million things wrong. But the only way you'll find out how you got them wrong is to make those mistakes and to learn from them. So we sent the money out to China to see the product all arrive back, and we kind of gasped as all these boxes appeared. And we tentatively opened them. We had 2 colors, 4 sizes, small, medium, large, and extra large. And they looked fine. They looked pretty, the packaging was right, they were soft, the waterproofing worked fine. We set up the website, we told all our friends and family, and we said, off we go, this will be great. And it'll be so easy, surely, because Annabelle and I are very well known. We'll get loads of publicity, we'll be on Loose Women, we'll be on Lorraine this morning. How that'd be so simple. Very wrong. How wrong we were. What I hadn't ever really understood or anticipated is that we are a nation of Brits, and we're a little bit uptight about things that go on below the waist. And we get a bit awkward about it, and it's all very uncomfortable. And that newspapers are edited generally by middle-aged men who absolutely freak at the mention of anything to do with the nether regions of women. So that was a bit of a no-no, I have to say. But incredibly, we started selling from the website quite well. I had to learn all about social media. I never used Twitter. I don't have a Facebook account. Of course, I had to set one up to have a business account. And I had to really get with it and start learning how these things work. Our first mistake that I realized we'd made was everyone told us that British women are bigger and we should put the bulk of the stock in medium and large. And we immediately sold out of small. And you think, great, okay. The second mistake we made was calling it small, medium, large, and extra large. We had lots of mums who came on Twitter and said to us, you can't call my daughter large. She's not large, and she gets very upset about it, any reference to her size. That was a bit of a shock for me, because I thought, that's a very public thing for Twitter, on Twitter. It's a great thing in some aspects, but it's a really bad thing in other aspects. You have to be very quick to address any issues publicly and responsibly. So I immediately went on and said, you're absolutely right. I'm really sorry. We're learning as we go. Thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. We will change it all on the website, but we can't change it on the packaging, so just pull the tag off before you give them to her and she'll never know. And they were great. They immediately went, how lovely to hear a company that understands and responds to what we're saying. We changed it to sizes 1, 2, 3, and 4. With the actual measurements in brackets after. And that, we kind of dodged a bullet there, shall we say. Things started to take off, and sales were going quite well. The one thing I did was I thought, how can we get this into a wider audience when people are so awkward about it? So I used Twitter. I went onto Twitter and I tweeted Jacqueline Gold. Jacqueline Gold is the CEO of Ann Summers, the sex shop chain. And I tweeted her and I said, how do you turn a taboo subject into a high street phenomenon? I'd dearly love to know. And she came back and she said, let's meet. Okay. I went to London to meet up with the Jacqueline Gold, and I could have written the script. She walked into lunch in the leopard print dress like Jessica Rabbit, with the big high heels on, and I nearly laughed out loud. But she was brilliant. She completely kind of said, wow, I didn't realize you'd launched, and how does it work, and what stage are you at? She listened intently to everything that happened so far, and she said, right, what I think you and Annabelle need is a day at our head office with our marketing and development team. I want you to write me down your 10 biggest challenges, and we'll have a look at them before you get there, and then we'll work on them when you do. I said, why would you do that for us? I'm not paying you anything. I don't have any money to be able to. She said, it's not about money. It's about collaboration, helping one another. I have experience. You don't. I'm really passionate about helping other women in business, and if I can do anything to help you, then I'm more than happy to do so. I was completely blown away. The power of the female network in such a female-dominated business as ours has been incredible. Anyway, Annabelle and I disappeared off, giggling, going, oh, God, we're going to Ann Summers' head office for the day. Right, okay, we need to be really grown up and mature about this and not giggle. We arrived at the head office, and as you walk in the door, there's a big sign up that says, it's a business doing pleasure with you. I love that. I thought, what a fantastic tagline. I spent most of the day trying to get Annabelle to hold a whip so I could tweet it, but she wouldn't do it. Anyway, they did spend a long time with us, and they sat around this big table in their boardroom, and they said, well, we think you should target festivals, because young girls are, the toilet facilities are really poor, and they want to wear their sawn-off white jeans, and it's really kind of, a market that's untapped, and people don't discuss it, and we could try and get you into some of the younger magazines, the Cosmos, and that kind of thing. She gave me a fantastic list of contacts. She gave me some great ideas, and we left with 2 goodie bags, which was very interesting as I was getting on the flight back up to Glasgow with hand luggage only, and absolutely no idea what was in this goodie bag. Annabelle disappeared off in the car going, see ya. And I'm texting her saying, what if there's a big old tub of lube in there and it's more than 50 mils? I'm dead. And she said, it's fine. I haven't opened it, but I'm sure you'll be fine. So I'm going through security, and the guy's kind of, he's looking at it, and I'm thinking, sweating like, nobody's business. And beside me is a young family, not good. Quite cute guy, even worse. I get all the way through, and I can see there's a big old rabbit in the top of it, but it's tied up, so I think, get all the way through. Made it. Get on the plane, and as I'm getting on the plane, it's really busy, and I've got this big bag, and I think, okay, I could put it under the seat. No, I've got another space under the seat. So I started to put it in the overhead locker like this, and I can't get it in because it's really, and this guy says, oh, I'll help you. Boosh, shoves it in, all he hears, zzz, zzz, zzz. See, I think you've left your phone on. No, it's really not my phone. It's not my phone. It's not mine. And I sat the whole flight giggling to myself, if anyone had any idea. Anyway, it was a great experience, and Jacqueline has kind of stayed in touch with us and understood. I really hoped in a way, because she has a chain of knicker shops called Knickerbox, that she might be interested in potentially looking at it later on. I said, I could be 1 week of the month and you could be the other 3. It would work really well. So she's been brilliant, and as I say, the whole female network thing has been incredible. We've had our PR battles though. It's not been simple, as I say. It's not sexy, it's not attractive, people don't want to talk about it. We've tried everything to get on Loose Women. They will not have us on. I mean, I don't know if any of you have watched Loose Women. They talk about virtually everything on there. But if you've noticed on daytime telly, it's only acceptable to go on with a commercial product if it's a book, a film, or an album. They will not plug any commercial products thereafter, and they really are quite stringent about that. They don't like it. So I'm still battling that one. So if you ever see me on there, you give me a little fist pump, will you please? We've had some PR successes, though, as well. I subscribe to a magazine called Women in Home, and yeah, I've reached that age. And I love that magazine because, you know, it's lots of kind of inspirational stories of women who changed their lives, and no matter what age they are, to start a whole new business and go, I'm not doing that anymore. I've done all the corporate job. I'm going to do something for myself. So I went to see Women in Home, and I put it to them in that way. I said, look, I've subscribed to your magazine. I read every month about what you do, and I'm utterly inspired by what I read. So you're kind of partly responsible for this business, because I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't been reading your magazine. So I feel you're duty-bound to give me some coverage in your magazine. And they were a bit kind of taken aback, but they did. They gave us a double-page spread with our daughters, telling our story and how it started, and that was huge. That's when I knew our customer base was exactly that kind of customer. As I say, we started as a teenage product, but I know teenagers never buy our product, ever, because they still see it as mum's job to pay for something like that. They want to spend their money in Topshop or Urban Outfitters or whatever. They're not interested in something that can't be seen and spending their hard-earned cash on it or hard-given cash in it. So Women in Home was huge for us. Sales rocketed around the world. I mean, it was incredible. We've sold to women in 14 countries without ever marketing to any of them. When we get that little piece of nugget of PR or an article somewhere, you think, wow, that's incredible. We've had little stories that have cropped up that we didn't expect. Heather Watson, the British #1 tennis player, a year past in January there, was playing in the Australian Open. And she took her period on the court. Who knew? You couldn't see anything, but the girl was clearly struggling with life in general. She was sweating, she had cramps, she was awful. Her performance was pretty poor. And the interviewer, a young guy, was kind of going, oh, what's happened? You know, what's the problem? And what's the issue? And have you, you know, is this something to do with your glandular fever coming back? You could see her going, shut up. And eventually, she just kind of snapped and went, look, it's girl things, okay? And this poor guy was a bit, oh, okay. They didn't say very much. Annabelle was in 5 Live Studios at the time commentating on the match. BBC were like, whoa, can we say the P word? Is that okay? And then they decided in a little huddle that they would talk about the P word, and maybe that would be okay. We should be brave and groundbreaking, and we'll talk about it. So Annabelle did an interview on the BBC website about her story and the fact that she, you know, had to play in these long matches with the 3-hour matches, the 2-hour two toilet breaks in that time, and the results were incredible. 1 million people downloaded her interview in 24 hours. That shows the kind of interest in it and the conversation that it started. You know, Radio 2 were discussing it, lots, and BBC were so chuffed with themselves that they'd been so brave to do this, of course. And you know, it just amazed me that there is an appetite for the conversation. Of course, lots of it was negative and positive. Women shouldn't be using periods as an excuse. But you had Martina Navratilova came out and said, I would never have won my first Wimbledon if my period had been 1 day later, because the day before I won, I was in bed, doubled up with cramps. I couldn't have done it. You put Roger Federer out there with a sweating temperature and stomach cramps and see how he performs. I bet you anything he doesn't win. And all the kind of stories that evolved from that. We had amazing social media presence on there, because, you know, we could talk about it, we could invite conversation, and all of our followers and Facebook posts kind of boosted because of one thing, one poor girl having a period in public, and that changed everything for us. This Morning invited me on, having said, you know, they didn't ever want to talk about products. I got this phone call out of the blue, and I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I've been asking you for ages to go on. That's really strange. This time, it was to talk about a slightly different topic, because in the last 6 months, we've changed the business a little bit, because, I'll just go backwards a little bit, because we had investors look at the company to get involved, to take some equity share in it, and as a part of that, they did some due diligence in the business, they did market research, they talked to our customers, focus groups, that kind of thing. And they came back and they said, look, you're doing a good job with the period thing, that's fine, but it's not growing, and it's not growing fast enough. The big market you're really missing is the older women. Women of a certain age, i.e. me, of 40 plus, they maybe had a couple of kids, they didn't do their pelvic floor exercises when they had children. Well, most women don't, they're too tired, they're too busy. And then they start joining a gym when they're 40 or whatever, they take up running and do all these things, and they think, oh, I'll look after myself, my fitness. And that's when they realize they pee themselves. 1 in 3 women who've had children, sorry girls, I don't want to put you off future life. We've got a young intern works for us and she's traumatized now. 1 in 3 women will wet themselves if they don't do their pelvic floor exercises when they've had children. So that was really interesting to me. They said the big market you're missing is pelvic floor weakness. That is massive, and we're on the edge of an epidemic. Really? We got an invitation from Boots to come and see them. And Boots' buyer said to me, yeah, pelvic floor's great because actually the period market's a declining one. The period market's a declining one. Women are women for the whole world over, and the world's not going to change. And they said, oh, yes, but it's declining because young girls today will not put up with it the way their mothers did. If it's really bad and they're struggling with it, they'll go on the pill, they'll have an implant, they'll have a coil, whatever it is, they will click and delete because it's an inconvenience in their life. Now, you probably are more aware of that than I was. That was quite shocking to me. I thought, oh, gosh, you're not interested in dealing with something that's debilitating in such a way when medical science is available to take it away. So here we are in a situation where Boots are saying to us, you're missing the big market. The investors are saying to us, you're missing the big market. And I think, God, are we? So we started doing some research, and unbelievably, yes, it's Boots' fastest growing market is light stress incontinence. Now, that's a different thing from incontinence altogether. And people panic when they hear that word because they think, that means I've got loads of cats. I smell faintly of wee. I'm 1 foot in the care home. No, you're not. You just didn't do your pelvic floor exercises when you were younger. And actually, it's never too late to start. It's fixable. It's really fixable. You just do your pelvic floor exercises and you'll be fine. So we've now formed an association with the Bladder and Bowel Foundation, which is the first port of call for women, men, children, or anyone who suffers from any kind of bladder or bowel weakness or conditions. We've also formed an alliance with the Association of Continence Advisors. So they can speak for us in a medical way that I can't, I'm not qualified to do. But they've got nobody publicly to talk on their behalf because no one wants to talk about it. So they'll use me and Annabelle to be their kind of acceptable face of it, if you like. Anyway, going back to the story, I got invited on this morning on the subject of light stress incontinence. And I thought, yeah. So I get there, and I've got all my stuff, all my products and everything laid out. And they went, oh, you can't show any of it. Okay. You can mention the name once, but you can't show any of it. Great. Okay, I'm thinking it's live. So I get there, and it was Amanda Holden at the time was hosting it with Philip Schofield, and she went past my dressing room, and she went, oh, hi. She goes into my dressing room, and she went, oh my God, you're so brave doing this. Brave? And she was gone. But a little bell in the back of my head's going, hang on a minute. That's a weird thing to say. So I stopped the producer on the way out, and I said, excuse me, what does it say under my name when I'm going on air? Carole, Smillie, what? And he went, shuffling about the bits of paper. What does it say under my name when I'm on air? And he went, Carole Smillie suffers from incontinence. You are joking. You not wanted to say that then? Funnily enough, no, I don't. What do you want it to say? I said, well, she started her company, DiaryDoll, because of the huge market of women suffering from, can't say that. Nah, I didn't think you could just take it off completely and put my name, will we? I think, God, if I wasn't in television, I wouldn't have known to even ask that. Anyway, so I get into the studio, and Dr. Chris Steele's there, who's, of course, the lovely family doctor on this morning, and he's a charming man, and we sit down and they show a little VT about the huge market share of women struggling and not going to see their GP, and it's a kind of hidden secret sort of thing. And then they come to me, and I think, right, I'm going to go for it. And I said, oh, that's why we started our company, DiaryDoll, because we started as a teenage product, but actually a huge number of women are coming forward buying them for stress incontinence, and that's why 5 major retailers are now stocking our brand, because they understand, they recognize the same issue. And Philip Scopely went, and how long have you suffered? I could have gone. But part of me thought, if I go, well, I don't suffer, then I've totally alienated all my customers, and I have to be really careful how I handle this. So I said, well, I don't know many women over 40 who've had kids who would go on a trampoline twice, Philip. And he went, and have you seen your GP about it? I said, no, I just don't go on trampolines. It's not a huge problem in my life. I don't walk about. I just don't go on trampolines. And I thought that was a real shock, because they basically just tried to slightly humiliate me there, and I thought, that's very interesting. Of course, when I came off air the next day, if you Google my name now, which I probably you will, you'll see Carole Smillie confesses to her incontinence live on air, because that's the problem. Newspapers grab those little, what they called hijack headlines. It's what people go, ooh, and then when you read it, it doesn't say that at all in the text, the body of the text. It just says that I've confessed to my stress, to my incontinence. Not even stress and incontinence, just my incontinence. So I phoned up Annabelle and said, you're the bleeder and I'm the one that pisses herself. It's going well. So shocking and sad in a way that it came to that, but I thought, can we all just grow up a bit and be a bit more aware and a bit more responsible maybe about helping other women that maybe suffer with these issues, rather than trying to sensationalize it or kind of, hoodwink people into trying to say that this is a problem for them. Obviously, we've had other stories that have kind of ignited press interest, like the Donald Trump issue. I mean, the man is a liability, and he attacked a newsreader verbally on air, asking her, he said she was a pain in the backside and she was probably bleeding out of her whatever. Did he really say that? Yes, he did. Again, more social media, the conversations that it started on our Facebook page and on our Twitter were just amazing. Obviously, mostly in support of the women. We also have now a period Barbie. Did you know that? Barbie dolls, they now do a period Barbie, when she comes with her own little sanitary towel. But it's educating young girls from a young age. This is not a shameful thing or a bad thing. It's just a normal thing, and every woman in the world has it. So I think it's a great thing and a really responsible thing. So where are we now? Here we are now, 3 years since we've launched. We've been in John Lewis and we've been in Debenhams, which has been great. However, I went in there as a lingerie product with our brand, and I really wanted to see it one day as a lingerie product. I'd like to see it like a pair of Spanx or a sports bra. But the world's not going to change that quickly, unfortunately. And it did well in John Lewis, but it didn't do that. Debenhams over-ordered, so they've ordered too many, and they're like, oh, it's so disappointing. You get these kind of, young buyers. They're really young, and they've got loads of responsibility, and they're really powerful. And first of all, they come and say to you, we totally love your product. We'd love to have it. And I think, oh, great, great, great. And I said, but you don't put us in your Blue Cross sale or your Mega Days because we can't cope with that. Really, it's a small brand. Oh, no, we'd never do that. They lied. And like I say, 6 weeks later, and it hasn't gone off the shelves. Oh, it's so disappointing. I could have throttled her, but I didn't. So the point is that we're now in Boots, which is fantastic. We've got in there, we're in 122 Boots stores, purely as a stress incontinence product, and we launched 2 weeks ago on boots.com, all the colours and all the sizes. And they've been amazing. The buyer in there said, I've been working in this area for 12 years. It is so unglamorous. And now it's so nice to see something that's pretty and feminine, and you've got the packaging right, and you understand how women think that there's no point in making you feel ugly and awful when you're not feeling great about yourself as it is. So it's very exciting, and I'm really keen to try and make that work. We're now looking at an advertising campaign. We've taken on a PR company. And as the business has scaled up, it's got to a kind of scary place now where I think, this needs real money. It was a bit of a punt back 3 years ago. A bit fun, put a bit of money in, let's see how it goes. But actually, it's now getting very serious. My husband has joined me in the business. He's never done anything like this before. That was very interesting because he's going into meetings with buyers going, but we don't know all the answers, and I don't know, what if they ask us this? And I'm saying, well, that's okay. Just say, don't know the answer to that. Really? Yes, you're in a women's world now. It's okay. Women don't mind you saying, I don't know the answer to that. And he'd be like, well, if you did that in a meeting with a guy, I'd just think, what the heck? Would they? Yeah, they would just look at each other and think, doesn't know his stuff. It's fascinating. So he sits in these long meetings, and the buyers say to him, so do you wear tampons with them or pads? Sorry. And he's like, it's fine. I know it all now. It's absolutely fine. I think what I've done to him, I can't imagine. But he's been helping with things like, the invoicing and the warehousing and the IP and the funding and all these things that really I can't do on my own. Annabelle is a silent partner in the business. It's me that runs it. We have now we took on an intern, and she's now full-time with us. I say I probably traumatized her for life. And Alex, my husband, helps me with the business. And it's been fantastic. We joined Entrepreneurial Spark, which is a business accelerator. I'm sure you know about Entrepreneurial Spark through your work at the SIE. And that has been incredible for us, just incredible. I've loved every minute of it. And weirdly enough, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I went in there thinking, oh, this is, it's like going back to school in a way, and you've got to be told how to do things and put a structure to the business that is undoubtedly what it needed. But what I hadn't anticipated was working around like-minded people, other people starting their own businesses, nothing to do with what I do, but they're all achieving the same goal or trying to achieve the same goal, which is sales, awareness, funding, any of these things. They're trying to get to the same end goal. And sometimes in the office you go in and someone's crying because it's just all gone pear-shaped, or they're having a meltdown, or they go, I don't know how you do this, and I don't know how you do that. But because we all understand that and we've all been through it, like I say, family and friends will go, oh, he'll be fine. There comes a point you think, I won't be fine. I need help. But when you're around people who understand that in a way that no one else does, it's been really brilliant and really supportive. So if you do start your own businesses, the amount of help in Scotland that is there to each step of the way, whether it's with some office space, with some funding, with some grant access, with some advice, the mentoring, it's just been brilliant in the way that I don't think if I was anywhere else in the UK, I'd have got anything like that. And as a result now, I end up giving back. We're one of the longer standing businesses within Entrepreneurial Spark, so we give back. There are new businesses come in and they need to know how to do this. How do you buy a barcode? How do you where do you get your manufacturing? How can I get samples? That's obviously what I deal with. There's other food businesses, techie businesses, medical businesses, and someone somewhere in there has probably done it already before in the past, and they can help, and that's just been incredible. So I'm ever so grateful for that. I met a lady a couple of years ago called Hinda Miller, who is the creator of the world's first sports bra. She came over to Stirling University. And she did an interview, and she's a 68-year-old congresswoman now from Vermont. But back in the day, it was only 1978, she and her friend were running like this. And she said, it was incredible. We were like, this is agony. There must be something. What we need is a jock strap for women. And that's how it started. They went out and bought 2 jock straps, turned them upside down, and crossed the straps at the back, and it became known as the jock bra. How mad is that? Anyway, it developed a little bit further. It became the jog bra. And she said, back then that was really taboo. A bra was really taboo. So we put it in a little black box, and we called it small, medium, large, and extra large. They didn't obviously the same issues we had. And there's a drawing on it because we couldn't have a photograph because that'd be way too out there. And we went to sports shops. In those days, they didn't have the big Nike stores that we have now. It was all individual sports shops run by enthusiasts, mostly guys, and said to them, look, this is a piece of equipment. If you sell it next to the women's trainers and running shoes, then you'll sell them. No, they didn't like that much. They would have to get it out of the box. They said, no, just tell them it'll protect their breast tissue and they'll be able to run comfortably and it'll be absolutely fine. And that's how it started. Sales started to take off. We took on reps. We said to the reps, if you can look me in the eye and say the word nipple and you're not embarrassed, you don't flinch, the job is yours. And so it became. She said sales started to grow, things started to happen. We got a little bit of grant funding. My parents funded us. And, all these years later, it sits in the Smithsonian Institute as a piece of history, which I don't see my knickers ever being in, the Tate Modern as a piece of history, but you never know. So I would love to see our product like a sports bra, a perfectly acceptable, normal piece of kit that every woman should have for a specific issue or problem. I think our brand is all about team spirit, because I think women are incredibly supportive of one another, especially when there's a problem. They will share and help, because everyone knows someone, whether it's a mother, a sister, an auntie, a friend, who would need them or suffer from one of many issues. And in doing so, we've managed to get some brand ambassadors on board, and we haven't paid any of them. It's been fantastic. We've got Netball Scotland, the Scottish Thistles. They played in the Commonwealth Games wearing our product. They went to the World Cup in Sydney wearing our product. They blogged about it, they wrote about it, they tweeted about it, and they've been fantastic. I now support their Bounce Back to Netball campaign, which encourages women who are a bit older, who go back to netball and get back into sport and try and once a week, play netball with their friends. We also have the Commonwealth gold judo medalist sisters, Kimberly and Louise Rennicks. They approached me and said, look, you know, I have a period every 2 weeks for 2 weeks, and I wear white judo whites, and I've got to roll around on a mat, and we get a new coach in every 6 months or something, usually a guy, and I have to go through the same rigmarole of why are you leaving the mat, get back here. No, I can't. Why not? So they're very keen to help us, and they talk in schools about positive body image and trying to support us in that way. And the third one is a young lady called Georgina Kassar, who's a Team GB rhythmic gymnast. She wears nothing virtually. It's a tiny wee costume. She's beautiful. She's got the rock star boyfriend, and she blogs for us as a young person to really young girls, 13, 14-year-olds, about how, yes, you may think I have it all, but actually I still have periods, and I'm still like you, and it doesn't matter what size we are, what colour we are. We just have to put up with this, and we've got to get through it. And it's about supporting one another and being positive about something that is good in it. It might not feel good to you, but you know, without it all, we would cease to exist without that monthly cycle. We've also, as I say, formed relationships with the Bladder and Bowel Foundation and the Association of Continence Advisors. And the last one is the Endometriosis UK charity. We had a woman who posted on our Facebook page saying it was the first time in her life she'd ever held down a job because she was wearing her pants. I couldn't believe that. I'd never heard of endometriosis. It's a condition for a lot of women. It's about their internal organs fusing together, and as a result, they have chronic periods and very painful. And she said, I just couldn't leave the house. I was too scared. I didn't know when it was going to happen next, and I've had to take time off now to get surgery. There's no cure for the condition, but you can get surgery to laparoscopies to try and alleviate it from time to time. She's been incredibly powerful to us, as endometriosis sufferers are. They get behind us. I marched for them last Saturday in Glasgow in the Scottish March to try and raise awareness on their Awareness Month. And again, tapping into the reach that they have of women who suffer from endometriosis, friends and families who do, and trying to help them. We have recipes on their website to help with their symptoms. We have women who blog about their surgery and tell honestly what it feels like and how it is living with something like that. And nobody talks about endometriosis. They have no support from other brands. So it's been a great one from our point of view to get behind, because not only do they have the reach, but they have no support and they have no voice, and they love the fact that we try and support them in some way or other. So that's our brand ambassadors, that's our media, our partners in the organisations that help us and we help them. And so far, things are going well. But it's not been an easy ride, and I hope from your point of view it's been an interesting story. It's far from over, I can assure you, and I never know what's around the corner next. And when I have really bad days and things go horribly wrong, I think, that's another chapter for the book. Don't let it get you down. If you think you're onto something good and you've done your market research and the signs are saying the right things, then stick with it. Because from my point of view, it's been life-changing in a lot of ways. My hairdresser makes a lot of money out of covering up my grey. But other than that, it's been an absolutely brilliant experience. I hope you've enjoyed my talk. Thank you.